What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel and check out the content. Today, I want to speak on a player who I think is the greatest player of this generation, his generation. And in my opinion, that's Steph Curry. And I'm just going to give a few reasons for why I think that Steph Curry is the greatest player of his generation. And in my opinion, Steph Curry don't really get the credit that he should get for being, they give him credit for being one of the best. But in my opinion, like of all the guys who are in the league, who have been in the league for the last probably like about 15 years or so, it's gotta be Steph Curry, who's the greatest player of this generation. And so I'm gonna start it out by just by saying that the biggest part of why Steph Curry turned out to be the player that he is, and the player that he has been throughout his career is his development. Steph Curry comes from a two-parent household, and his father, as you all know, Dale Curry played for a number of years in the NBA. So he comes from a solid two-parent household and a stable household. And so when you have a person that comes from a stable household, a two-parent household, that plays a big part in their development. As an NBA player, Steph Curry has always been he's been professional, and that's not to say that the guys who are who I'm going to talk about they're not professional like him, but he has stability, more stability than a lot of guys that people that think that are maybe better than him, or they think that maybe these guys are um are the best players in the NBA. And so now his stability means that he was able to stay, that helped him stay in the NBA or stay at his team. He stayed with Golden State for his entire career, at least up until this point. He's been with them up until this point. Um, and so that means that he was able to develop a culture, a winning culture. And by him developing a winning culture, that was good for Steph Curry. That was good for the organization and the fans. So you get to, as if you was a Golden State Warrior fan, then you got to see his development. A lot of people, even people who didn't follow him from college, he went to Davidson College, then Golden State. Then he was drafted by Golden State, and he's been playing at Golden State, like I said, for his whole career. So he's been pretty stable, and that stability, like I said, allowed him to be a part of a winning culture. And that, to me, is what separates Steph Curry from Kevin Durant. That separates Steph Curry from LeBron James and a lot of other guys, most other guys who play in the NBA. Uh, a lot of times the NBA wants to promote guys who had tough upbringings, guys who came from single parent homes, and ain't nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Guys who come from single parent homes, or guys who had tough upbringings, like both of the guys who I just mentioned. LeBron come from a single parent home. Kevin Durant come from a single parent home. And if you look at a lot of the guys, even some guys from overseas, they come from these countries where they have, there's a lot of unrest in these countries that a lot of these guys come from. And so that is like the common theme, or like something that a lot of people have in common all over the world. So maybe that's why the NBA promote guys like that who comes from these unstable backgrounds. So, but to me, that's been an advantage for Steph Curry. And that allows him to, once you establish a culture like he has been a part of in Golden State, once you allow that, that culture to be established, then um, he's got a pretty good check on his ego. When even when the Golden State Warriors went out and got Kevin Durant, you know, Steph Curry, it wasn't a big issue because Steph Curry's ego, he put the team first. And a lot of superstars would not be mature enough to do that, to put this team first. A lot of superstars they would have felt threatened, basically. They would have felt threatened, like their position or their status, they might not get as much shine as the guy. But Steph Curry allowed Kevin Durant to come in, and he did what was best for the team. And again, that comes to his development. That comes back to the fact that they had a culture already that was set there before Kevin Durant came to the team. They had that, that winning culture. And so he just wanted to continue that culture. And they was able to, I think they won 2 rings once they got Kevin Durant. Yeah. So they won 2 rings once they got Kevin Durant. And you didn't hear anything about Steph Curry, having any problems with Kevin Durant as far as like his position on the court and feeling threatened. So he didn't have a big ego. Then on top of that, Steph Curry has always been the kind of player, he's a team guy, but he never throws at least publicly, he don't throw any of his teammates under the bus. And again, that's very important because it works against your team and it works against your culture when you go public and you air your grievances with your teammates, your coaches, or your organization. When you air those kind of grievances publicly, that's not good for the team. So that causes the division. And then a lot of times people will want to leave. But he's been playing with Klay Thompson. He's been playing with Draymond Green and the coach Steve Kerr. They've been together for years. Like I said, all of these guys, their core guys, they've won 4 championships together. And as a fan, when you get to see a guy stay in one city, which I think is big, and I like that stability, again, it plays into that. He was able to stay in one city, and you got to watch his career, and him evolve and grow, which I think was good, is good for the league. And it's a good look because he didn't have as much success as far as getting into the playoffs and stuff like that when he first started out. It was a gradual progression. And, once they got over that hump, then you can see, you can see the maturity in him, Steph Curry, and you can see the maturity in his game. And so when you have ball players who don't have that stability, and they don't have that they don't get to develop that culture, I think it takes away from that player's individual development, and they don't get to they don't get to really see what it's like to build a culture in one city. If you take Kevin Durant, for instance, Kevin Durant has played on several different teams. And the only time Kevin Durant won a championship is when Kevin Durant was playing, when he played with Steph Curry. So he really lacked the stability and the growth that I think that a lot of people would like to see in him. He lacks that stability and that growth. People want to see him, get to the playoffs in the beginning of his career and get knocked out, and just get better, and then eventually get over that hurdle. But he didn't do that. He went to Golden State. Then after he went to Golden State, he was at a couple other teams. Um, So you didn't really get to see Kevin Durant develop like that. And so when you take into account, same thing for LeBron James. LeBron left Cleveland and went to Miami, and Miami had already had an established culture there because of Pat Riley. That their culture was established, and so LeBron won 2 rings there, and then he left. He won another ring in Cleveland. Then he won another ring in LA. But again, the he is not the kind of team player with a that Steph is. Sometimes a lot of people that play with LeBron don't even like, his teammates really don't like playing with him. Um, he he's known for throwing his teammates under the bus. Coaches, he'll throw the coaches under the bus. And to me, that right there is just not that's what separates Steph Curry from these two guys. Then if you look at what's the other guy, Kawhi Leonard. Now Kawhi started out, to me, he started out good. He was with the San Antonio Spurs and Greg Popovich. And as if you follow basketball, you know that San Antonio and Greg Popovich, they also have an established culture. You know that you're going to play hard every game, and you're going to play defense, and you're going to play team ball. But Kawhi left there and went to, where did Kawhi go? He went to Toronto. So, and he did win a championship in Toronto. But after he left Toronto, it's been hard for him to stay healthy. And again, he don't have that stability that that Steph has. And he was not able to again establish that a culture in one place and develop in ways. I think Steph Curry has developed in ways that all of these other basketball players, like his contemporaries, he's developed his game in ways that they are not really they haven't been able to, just because they don't have that stability. And like I said, from a fan's, like, if you follow basketball and you really get caught up in like the development of the players or the teams that you follow. For instance, and the same thing like with Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson comes from a 2-parent household. So that might be, and I'm mentioning that because I think that plays a good part in why some of these guys are more stable, and they are less likely to want to move around, and also they are able to buy into a program. Like, it's not all about you, as being the franchise ball player. It's about the team. It's about the organization. Who else? Even Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan comes from a 2-parent household. He stayed in Chicago his entire time, and they had a culture there. You knew that Mike was the leader, on the court. You knew that Chicago was going to play tough defense, and and Mike, you saw the development in Mike. You saw Mike make it to the playoffs of his first few years in the league. Mike, he got knocked out by Boston. He got knocked out of the playoffs by Detroit, a few times. But it just made for good basketball. It made for good entertainment when you saw that, Mike was able to, after a while, he was able to get over that hump. And you don't see that with ball players of today. Everybody want to go and build a super team. And I think that the way that Steph Curry did it in his era, I think that, is what separates Steph Curry from a lot, basically all of these ball players of the day. Everybody's trying to move around. Well, most of these guys are trying to move around and trying to find like build a super team. Um, so that's my thoughts on Steph Curry as far as like his development. Then he has 4 rings. he has 4 rings. I'm not sure how many years Steph Curry been in the league, but they got 4 championship rings. Um, so that is just as many as LeBron and more than Kevin Durant. Also, that is more than Kawhi Leonard. James Harden don't have any rings, and James Harden is another player who has been unstable and moving around the league, just moving all around the league. Um, and like I said, you don't get to, I don't think if you don't establish a home base, you don't really get to develop as a player as much as you would as if you had a solid foundation and a culture. And that to me is a big part of the reason why Steph Curry, in my opinion, is is really the greatest player in his generation. I can't see anybody like who's in the league right now with him who is better than him, and that includes LeBron and that includes Kevin Durant. These guys are really very talented guys. Both of these guys have won championships, but I think if I had a choice of whose career I would want to have personally, I would want to have Steph Curry's career. I think Steph Curry to me had the best career out of all of these guys, um, and his development to me has been really, really better than all of these guys. He's got to grow and mature and develop and learn about organizations and stability, just through living it. And I think the fact that like I said, the way he come from is played a big part in his success. So, that's my take on it. Let me know what you think. If you agree that Steph Curry is the greatest player in this generation, let me know if you agree. Um, Also, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. I appreciate the support. And oh yeah, don't forget to go to urbanplatformfashion.com, pick up yourself a hoodie. We have t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, and short sleeve t-shirts. So yeah, go to the website and check out the merchandise, and hopefully you'll support the channel. But with that being said, yeah, make sure to leave a comment and let me know who you think is the greatest player of this generation, and also let me know why you think that person is. And you know with that being said, I'll check you out next video.